Welcome back to the Senior Network. As you can see, we played musical chairs on the break. I wanted to talk to Susan a little bit about, we had mentioned earlier about your services, and I was very curious, at what point do families typically reach out and engage for your type of service?
Typically, it occurs when family members are starting to notice that there is a change in one of their family members.
Sure.
So often it's an adult child looking at their parents and noticing that things are changing, that the bills aren't being paid, that the mail is piling up, that perhaps they've been falling, and they're just worried about them. And so either through somebody else or through their knowledge, they get a referral to us and contact us, and then we talk to them about what we do and what we might be able to do for them. And then we typically, if they are still living in their home setting, then we go in and we do an assessment and we give the family some idea of what their needs are and how we can help them by finding the right services. We try to know the resources in the area, and we will do a very extensive report for them that may have 8, 10, 12, sometimes 20 recommendations.
And Susan, how long have you folks been around in town?
It's exactly 15 years.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah,
great.
October 2001 we started.
And I'm assuming when someone is hospitalized, they go into the hospital, I'm assuming that's also a setting that they would recognize that there's a need for your type of services.
Yes, that's one of the services we offer is to be a geriatric care manager, you need to be willing to work weekends, nights, holidays, and hospitalizations don't have any idea of what time of day it is. And so we are available all the time to meet people at the hospital, to go there. I'm planning on this afternoon even meeting a daughter who's coming from out of town, meeting her at the hospital, and seeing what's going on with her mom. We will be available for doctor's appointments. If somebody has an issue, taking them to a doctor. If we need to, go to an urgent care center rather than go to the emergency room. We accompany people to doctor's appointments, get all the notes that we can from that appointment, and then send an email to all family members that are out of town so that they can stay abreast of what's going on. Nobody gets excluded.
Sure.
And so those are some of the things we do. We're available for vacations if let's say there's somebody who lives locally and they are taking care of their parent in conjunction with some home care agencies, but they want somebody to look in and be that point person if there's a problem. We can give them peace of mind while they're traveling that we will be there and we will take over what they might do while they were here.
Well, I also can assume, we all just went through, Hurricane Matthew, which for some of us was a first-timer, and I can see where your services really come into play a lot and are very important after a situation like this, about putting lives back together, and it creates a lot of change in people's lives. Have you found that recently since the storm?
Yes, we certainly have. Prior to the storm, on a very short notice, trying to find places where all my clients can go. Those in the communities were taken care of, but those living out in the community, in their own homes, when I say in the communities, I meant assisted living or skilled nursing facilities. They have plans in place, but those out in the community were really in need. They are not able to make their own plans. So we had to make plans for them, and then to figure out when people could come home, when they had water. Some people didn't have water, some people didn't have electricity. And we're working as liaison with family members right now, working with adjusters and being there on the ground, taking pictures, showing the family members what has gone on. Fortunately, most of my clients were able to go back into their own home.
That's great news. Yeah, I know from a home care standpoint, you probably folks have seen too that a lot of folks could not go back to their home and still have not been able to go back. And I know all the assisted living facilities in the area, good news is they seem to all be back and have everyone back in place now, so that's great news. But it's been a challenge for us.
Yes,
it really has.
Yes.
It's brought the community together, though, I will say that. It really has. And Zena, from a home care standpoint, I know you work a lot with when Susan would go in that situation in the hospital and find out a need. Is that typically when you folks would get called to come in and meet the family? And
yeah, when she was talking about you know, you're always 24 hours. It's basically the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like we got a call that was literally in the evening, and the daughter did not know when her father was going to be able to come home. You know,
Right.
so it's kind of like you're. And then, you know, you set it up, and you're never sure when they're going to leave, because they could be okay, but then it takes 2 hours for paperwork, and so you're kind of always, I think, in this industry, should always be like on call, you know,
Sure,
because
right.
you never know what time of the day there's going to be an issue or a problem, and you know you should be there all the time. So.
Sure.
There's like no day off.
Yeah.
And Greg, I'm curious with Susan, I know you have to rely significantly on doctors and other professionals to help with what you all do. It's a very focused thing that you do, but I know it's integral to many other facets of people's lives. So my question to you is, how do you communicate with those other professionals and deal with them, and also learn from them, from their professions, with what you are doing for the client separately?
Yeah, well, we do have contact with a lot of the doctors. It's usually through their receptionist or through their nurse that we're communicating. I do a lot of faxing so that I don't, you know, tie up the phone lines a lot. You know, if they get a message, it can be, you know, via fax, and they can see it and they can act on it. We have to get refills from doctors. We have to get appointments set up, and through the years, we have developed a nice relationship, and make sure that we know who the doctors are for each of our patients. We always have a medication list that we have written up. It's nice and typed up list, so whenever we go to the doctor's appointment, we have that medication list, and then we can work from that.
Thank you, Susan. Well, we're going to need to take a break. This is the Senior Network. Stay with us, and we will be right back.